To live in higher consciousness is to live in love. To reside in a space that is so expansive and so clear and so free that one creates from divine creation itself. The feeling of freedom varies from individual to individual. What is freeing for one is not freeing for another. When emotions get the better of one, take over one's daily activities, daily living, one is creating from the space of the emotion itself. So we shared that all emotions hold vibration from within extending forward. So when one is joyful, happy, light-hearted, content, peaceful, it shows in all that they do. It shows in their body, the lightness of their step, their jovial nature, the twinkle in their eye. Have you seen eyes twinkle? Isn't it grand? Someone is speaking with you, and all you can see and are captivated with is the twinkle in their eye, the light that is coming forth, extending outwards. Their skin glows. Their laughter is soft and wonderful to hear. Their kind words are always wonderful to receive. For when ones are living in the state of happiness, joy, ease, contentment, peacefulness, they are living in higher consciousness. And in higher consciousness, naturally, there is compassion, kindness, love, forgiveness. So what if every interaction throughout the day presented to another, presented to oneself, for you are always interacting with you every second of the day. Ponder that. You live with you every second of the day. Who do you wish to be? Who do you wish to live with? So a person that has found joy, brought forth joy, truly it shows in everything they do. In everything they do. And it does not mean they are free of something unwanted coming along. It does not mean that one will not experience heartache and loss and sadness. But a mindful, joyous individual will find the space of ease more quickly than one that does not live in the state of ease. When one is angry, resentful, frustrated, hurt, feeling the whole world is against them, feeling unworthy, less than, it shows in everything they do. Everything they do. From how they walk down the street to buying groceries in the store. One's holding anger. Their movements are very quick most times. They're not soft. Everything feels jagged and rough and heavy. hands are normally in a fist state, if you will. So even when they're doing their groceries, the items removed from the shelf, thrown into the cart. It doesn't take much to understand someone is feeling angry by their actions alone and by first glance. It would be easy to conclude that one is angry or frustrated by the movement of their body. The aggressive nature of it creates aggression in life. Think about that. We share that all is a vibration moving outward, forward. Therefore, one is always walking into one's personal vibration until the mindfulness comes in to shift that vibration, to take the focus off the anger, to bring joy, because you cannot hold one with the other. We have mentioned this. You have to place down your happiness to hold anger. And you most certainly have to place down anger to hold joy and happiness. It is a choice on what one's wish to hold and how long one wishes to hold it for. So we want to say the individual that has lived a long time in the state of frustration, anger, feeling the world is corrupt, feeling everyone is out to get them, that if there's going to be bad luck, it is going to be their luck and it's going to be bad. And that if something good truly happens, it's going to be taken away in a very short period of time, so why bother? Why bother with anything? Because it's just going to fall apart because perhaps they feel they have a curse. Everything becomes so heavy and jagged and burdened. It is so difficult on the heart, the mind, the soul, the physical apparatus. Ones that live in the state of continual anger truly live in the state of low vibration, and it doesn't seem low because anger is so forceful. You would think the vibration is strong, but it does not become strong because it cannot be endured. Holding anger for years, the body will break down. And it truly is something to ponder whether feeling angry about something that happened decades ago or perhaps a week ago, if it is worth feeling angry about when one's could see what happens to the physical body, what truly happens to the mind, what truly happens to the soul and the heart. Every emotion is meant to be felt, naturally so. But is it meant to be lived moment in moment? No. And so many find themselves in a place of such despair and disheartenment, and understood why. Ones would not bring forth the emotion of any one thing if something wasn't presented for them to have the opportunity to bring it forth. And we've shared that what would make someone angry would not make another angry. What would make someone happy would not make another happy. Not everyone enjoys apple pie. And isn't it grand that you are you in the most individual place, if you will, because there is only one of you, but you are part and piece of the whole. You are one with all creation. So you have within your own desires, dreams, and wishes. times ones talk themselves out of their dreams, desires, and wishes, or someone else talks them out of it. And oftentimes the one that talks themselves out of the dream, or perhaps went for the dream and it didn't work out the way they wanted it to, or they're just not seeing results when they're wanting the outcome and it is not there. It feels tiresome, the road endless, year after year after year, cultivating a dream and never seeing the harvest. It takes a toll on one's well-being in the mind and in the heart, and naturally in the body. When ones find a place to hold any emotion, opposite to contentment, peace, joy, happiness, fulfillment, if you will, they truly open a space, open a door for a more difficult travel upon Mother Earth. And then as the travel gets more difficult, it only infuses the belief even far greater. Even gives the one more reason to feel angry, to feel disheartened, to feel disappointed, to feel beaten, to feel hurt, to feel pain, to feel suffering. What if you knew that all was vibration, all of it? What would you change in your vibration? What if you knew the grandest healing would take place if one quieted their thoughts, eased the aggression, found a tender moment to oneself, to allow one's body to relax into the healing state, rejuvenating state, replenishing state? Ones would find their whole world change. Now, it is understood that when ones are feeling, we want to say in the depths of despair, not wanting to see another day, not wanting to see the next hour, can't move on without the aid of something such as alcohol or drugs. What if the decision and the choice was made to bring forth compassion? We know it's repetitive, compassion, kindness, love, forgiveness, but it is the grandest components for healing. Healing the mind, healing the body, healing the heart, healing the soul. For when one can find forgiveness to all, one has found freedom. When one can find a sense of compassion, not even the greatest sense of compassion, a sense of compassion, one now is moving forward in a vibration that holds compassion. And if one could find just a little bit of love for oneself, a little love towards the anger or what caused the anger and the upset and the frustration, a little love towards the hurdles and the setbacks. What if the hurdle, the setback, what feels like the grandest failure was the greatest road to success? What if? What if? So it truly lies in perception. Ones will feel like they are failures in life. And there are no failures in life until someone labels it as such. It may appear to the outside world that something has failed. A business, a marriage, name it what you will. There are hundreds of thousands of reasons that one feels they have failed themselves, failed another, failed in their desires, wishes, and dreams, failed in life, failed getting up, not achieving what they want to achieve or what they perceive what they should achieve. Who sets the bar? Who sets the bar to success? And isn't success sort of opposite to failure? To feel like a failure in any one thing truly diminishes one's eternal light. The beating upon oneself when ones feel as though they have failed or they are a failure truly takes away the breath of life. It is debilitating. It is crumpling. It can destroy one's well-being in anything they do. Now, maybe someone has said the unkind words, well, you're a failure. Look at you, you have failed. And the one hung on to those words. A failure is only perceived as a failure when one labels it as such. What if one said the failure, what is perceived as a failure? What if in their own mind said, well, that was a stepping stone. I know now not what to do. What if all the failures were stepping stones into the greatness of all? To explore the contrast, to understand one's deepest wishes and desires. What if everything that you feel as a failure, or perhaps you don't feel that anything is a failure, but what if you did, you feel you failed in something, the A's and B's in school, failed at dancing, if you will, failed at being top of the class, name it, what hundreds and thousands of reasons to feel. But who sets that bar? Is it because there is judgment? So ones are going through school, and it is understandable that ones are learning their ABCs, the arithmetics, the science. It is understood the language that they speak, or learning to speak another language, if you will. So there is learning that takes place. What if the learning did not come with judgment? Would ones feel that placing an A, B, C, D, grading the paper is a form of judgment? Now, ones will say, yes, well, how do I know if I was right? How do I know if the math was right? Probably because there's a big check mark beside it or a huge X beside it. What if ones were never on a scale of achievement? Meaning, what if the world in public school did not revolve around the A's, the B's, and the C's? What if it did not revolve around who was good in sports and who was not? What if everyone was taught that everyone is magnificent, and it is of grand truth, that there are ones with such brilliant minds, and A would always be, always, with hardly any effort. And there are ones that truly struggle with learning. And so their world would become the C's, the D's, the F's. And what happens in that world of the C's, the D's, and the F's? Just like the little one being told they're slow, what happens down the road? What if learning took place in an environment that threw away the grading system? What would happen? What would happen? Brilliant question to ponder. There are some that truly have what others would feel successful, especially in children, adolescents, teens. Always getting the A, always getting top in the sports field, always with the best science project, always winning the prize, always being voted for most popular, always given the praise. And how many of those individuals suffer within oneself to the point where they take their own life? Cannot live up to the expectations. What happens if the A becomes a B plus? What happens when the A is not present and it's a B plus? To some, they would label that as an extreme failure. Take it within, hold on to that, what perceived failure. What if the race they always won, one race, they trip up and they are the second at the finish line by seconds? What if the goal of playing hockey or playing a sport such as soccer, always top making the goals, always getting past the goalkeeper, and one game not getting past the goalkeeper? There are some that are infused with such high expectation that when there's a slight variance, the world crumbles within oneself. Isn't that something? Or the ones that truly found a place to live life as ones would want them to in society, raising that bar so they are successful in finances. They are successful in obtaining or attracting the most magnificent spouse. They live in a grand home. They have life in the palm of their hands, the world in the palm of their hands. And they are so unhappy, so miserable, that they need to change their emotions, find the road to addiction. Again, not condemning, not condoning, saying it like it is. And that individual who has lived up to society's idea of success takes their life. What if all judgment in the A, B's, and C's was abolished? Because truly, as ones live out their life, it is all conditioning, is it not? The praise with the A, the scolding with the C. Would it even work? Most parents, most teachers would disagree. Has to be put in place for ones to see where they are on the scale. From 1 to 10, 1 being the lowest, 10 being the highest. How smart is this one? How much can this one achieve? It's a bar, it's a scale. But what if school systems, parents and teachers showed the scale of compassion, showed the scale of love, kindness, and forgiveness, what would the playground look like? And how many would actually excel? Not being labeled. How many would not take their own life holding a grand title? Ponder that. That is powerful. And there are some who take their lives because they do reside in a world full of D's and F's, not measuring up to society, not measuring up to their parents' or their family's ideals. So much pressure is placed upon one's being. For what? What if all the pressure was removed in the understanding all are one, all being unique, all magnificent, powerful beings? What if every soul that walked upon Mother Earth understood their own brilliance and magnificence without receiving the A or the D? It didn't matter how much money is obtained, if you will. Now we know that gets sticky because ones will say, well, we need money to live, and it is understood. But how many hold it as either a title or a label? Either a title or a label. Sort of like when ones find an addiction, experience an addiction, better wording. If ones have money and they are socially accepted in the world of being socially accepted, having it all, and so the one that has it all finds a place to experience an addiction of something, drugs, alcohol, sex, food, whatever it is, but let's stick with drugs and alcohol because it's most prevalent. Society looks at the one with great success and they have some compassion and understanding that they have a addiction to alcohol and drugs. It's almost accepting, if you will. Take an individual who is living on the streets and they have the exact same addiction to alcohol and drugs, but they are not living up to, let us say, society standards. They mostly are judged and condemned for the same experience of the addiction. Isn't that fascinating? Again, titles, labels. So the one living on the street, one's looked down upon. If they are an alcoholic, a drug addict, looked down upon, harshly judged, harshly condemned. And the one that has found financial success or living up to, they have compassion towards them. How is that? Labels and titles. What if that could be abolished? Higher consciousness would be. And higher consciousness is the knowing and the understanding and living in such compassion, love, kindness, forgiveness, that there is no judgment whether one is living in a big house, whether one is living on the street, seeing all things as magnificent creation. And how often does one have financial success and something comes along and it's gone? And now they are the ones that are struggling. And how often is the one that found themselves in a place with little resources, little financial resources, how often do they find their pathway and they become a tremendous success in society? How many were so broke before they found the pathway too? So what is perceived in the moment, in the day that it is? Understand that all can switch very quickly. And in that understanding, there would be no judgment. For someone without an addiction down the road can have an addiction. And someone with an addiction down the road can relieve themselves of. So life is fluid. Segment to ponder. We will wrap it up. There is great love for you.